Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Dash Rinko Levens.
Hello, everybody. For God's sake, it's about time that we launch this ship of the damned called Wrong and Wronger. Breakwell is having some kind of weird moment over there. I can't take any responsibility for it because he is responsible for his emotions. James, how are you today?
Well, I was going to ask you about the entire existential crisis you had before the countdown, but then you couldn't get through the countdown. You got lost halfway from 5 to 1. You were wandering in the number wilderness, and when I called you out after like a 90-second pause between 3 and 2, you became all defensive. Like, I don't know if this is a senior moment or what. So just what is going on over there?
You know, you said, can you count to 5? And my job is to count from 5, not to 5. You can't even get your sentences right when you're trying to criticize something you don't know anything about.
Well, you have to be, if you can't count to 5, how can you count backwards from 5? It's like a sobriety test. You can't do the alphabet backwards if you don't know it forwards. That's why I set the bar low and asked if you could count to 5. Like I
got
asked...
it scripted right here, right there, so that I don't forget.
Oh, man. So what was your existential crisis? I got to know this.
I have my computer on in front of me, and my phone has a glass protector over it, and it was making a weird, image on the glass. So I had to turn the computer, and that took a second. Maybe while I was counting down, I was sort of assessing the State of the Union when it came to the light. I don't know, but obviously you were triggered, Breakwell.
I was concerned, okay? You're getting up there in years. You're at the age, I mean, we've got, elderly family members where sometimes they call and you've just got to drop everything because it could be the last time you see them, and anything could turn out to be pretty serious. I feel like you're in that boat these days. Someday I'm going to get a passive aggressive tweet from you, and that's going to be it. That's going to be your deathbed tweet. I gotta keep my eyes open.
And the tweet will just be, "You did this to me," and that's it. And then you decide.
Well, did you see that reply that we both got? He tagged us both, where he said that he thought less of us now because of your Coca-Cola thing. He lumped me in. I have never in my entire life asked for half Coke, half water, and I was having my character defamed right along with you because of the company I keep.
I will say it is the new drink sensation that is sweeping the nation, James. I'm surprised when people order regular Coke or regular water now, because it's a TikTok viral sensation. You can look it up. Not now, but at some point when I'm not around. You'll see.
You are corrupting the youth. And by the youth, I mean no one, because literally no one will follow in your example. You are the negative example that the rest of us look at and do the opposite. So maybe Coca-Cola should be sending you a thank you, because if anything, people are going to be getting Coke with extra syrup and not the other way around.
I will say the reason you get lumped in is because yours and my relationship has lasted more than most marriages nowadays, James. We're almost to the 7-year itch. It's almost time to start cheating on each other.
What year mark are we actually at?
I think we're at year 7. Didn't we start in 16? Or
No.
Was it 17? I don't remember.
Was it that long?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And we have so little to show for it. Oh my gosh. What are we doing? Wow, that cuts deep, Steve. I don't know how you can destroy me with numbers like that. Imagine doing something so pointless for no reward for so long. So long. And it's not like this podcast gets you to meet rock stars and cool people. It's just me and you and 4 people commenting on Twitter. That is it.
Yeah.
What is wrong with us?
I mean, I'm obviously just dragging you along. You obviously don't want to do this and are only doing it to satisfy me. But I did think the other day, this was your idea. So I blame you for the genesis of this disaster.
Well, you have tossed this existential crisis entirely on my plate. And after this, I'm just going to go lie down on the floor in a dark room and just stare into nothing. That's what I feel, and that's what I am. Like, wow, 7 years. I hope that's wrong. I really hope. I hope your math is off by like 4 years. That's all that's keeping me going.
If it's off, it is 1 year or 0 years. Those are the only two options, because this show started real close in time to the commute. And the commute started in 16. So I don't know if this show started in 16 or like beginning mid 17.
It probably did, because 16 is when I got my first book deal, and that's when I was at the height of my hustle before I'd kind of given up on everything. I was so young and naive. I saw a world of possibility that didn't actually exist and never would exist. And yeah, here we are. I'm sitting here with you in my free time that I could be doing a million other things, and you could be I don't know, you could be peeing off a porch. So your options are more limited. I get that, but here we are.
But more fun.
Yeah. And we're just making more content that people are going to hate us for, man. That is, we are the prophets in the wilderness that no one wants to hear from.
I don't know what we even talk about every week. Like, people will say, what did you talk about last week? My wife will ask me that sometimes. I'm like, I don't have any idea. I don't remember. And that's the truth.
Well, we have to meander, because it's the only way that we step on these landmines of terribleness that are your life. Like, if I ask you what's going on, you'll never tell me. But if we have a long and rambling conversation, suddenly you'll turn over about how you used to write like dirty greeting cards for the porn industry. And it's a whole episode. And then that episode disappears because we didn't record it right. And, man, you know what? That's why we didn't make it big. That one episode, our best episode ever. My computer messed up and ate it, and nobody ever heard those stories, and that's why we are who we are now. There but for the grace of God go us. And I'd like to think in some parallel dimension there's a James and a Steve who are podcasting millionaires with like an exclusive Spotify deal right next to Joe Rogan, an audience of millions just rambling about nothingness. And they look back and they think, when they think about that fateful meeting that made this podcast kick off, they just see dollar signs. They see profit and they see progress. And for them to exist, we have to exist too, to balance out the multiverse. And that's our role, to make alternate reality, James and Steve, that much happier.
Wow. So ultimately, this misery is making me happy?
Yeah, I mean, it's making a different version of you happy. It's like Star Trek. You know how there's like the alternate dimension with evil Spock, and he just has a goatee? Like, that's us. Like, evil James and Steve are probably clean shaven. I don't remember if you have a beard or not. I think your logo has a goatee. So the evil versions of us. Well, you know what? We've got it flipped around. We are the evil versions. The good versions are over there and clean shaven and being justly rewarded for being good people. And we are over here getting exactly what we deserve.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I do have a story this week, James, that does speak to my enduring misery. But do you have a story too?
I do. I have a great story. I got like 2 hours ago. But I'm writing my newsletter for paid subscribers right now, and I'm like, if I throw this out in the podcast, I'm gonna blow the whole thing. And then I thought, but nobody listens to the podcast, so what's it gonna spoil? And I was conflicted. And I decided, no, this story is so good that if I throw it out here, it's gonna be the entire topic of the podcast. So instead, I'm gonna let you go with your lesser story. So what do you got for us, Steve?
Oh, jeez. Well, I had an eyewitness corroboration of the curse of Rattlesnake Ranch.
Okay.
Because he was immersed in it with me. It is my buddy Josh Peterson, who I met on Twitter and was not murdered when he came and spent a week at my house.
Whoa.
Now, I don't know if he has murderous tendencies outside of last week, but nobody was murdered. And so I'm very pleased with that.
I think you've got the murder relationship backwards there. Like, you are the murderer. Like, you lured him to your creepy hilltop manor surrounded by rattlesnakes. And the fact that he came out alive is just because you're lazy at being bad, I think is all we can take away from this.
Well, We almost took a turn.
Okay.
And it would have happened in front of both of our wives, which would have made it even more epic. And mine was filming.
Okay.
So we have like metal shingles that look like logs that we're putting on our cabin. And so Mrs. Steve ordered a load of them. We ordered a load a couple years ago, but then put it on the small cabin. So now we needed another load for the big cabin. So the truck shows up. And we have 2 tons. It's like 4,300 pounds of this stuff in the truck.
Okay.
And the truck has our stuff and then another 4 tons of a delivery for somebody else in it. And the truck itself, I forgot what, it was like 14,000 pounds. So the whole thing was quite a massive truck, and he couldn't make it up my driveway. And so Mrs. Steve is angry because every other truck has made it up the driveway and this putz isn't going to make it up the driveway. And so I went down because I am the voice of reason and Mrs. Steve is pissed. And so I'm talking to him and we figure out he's not going to make it up the hill. And so he's going to meet us at another place, offload the truck, and then we're just going to use my trailer and bring all of the siding in, like a few boxes at a time, whatever. So he throws it in reverse and immediately gets the back end of the truck stuck like a javelin into the blacktop of my, like the bottom of my driveway, because the angle was such, and all of the weight when he tried to make it up the hill slammed against the back of the truck and pushed the back end down. So now he's got this metal ramp on the back of his truck, like jammed into the asphalt. The point is he couldn't go forward or backward. He was stuck like a turtle on its back right there. Now, there's only one way in and out of my property, and that is through the hole in that gate that his truck is now filling. So I said, okay, I had 2 guys there to help me unload the truck. Josh, who was living there that week, and then I called my buddy Rick. And so Josh and Rick come down, and they're assessing the situation, and we decide, well, let's unload the back of the truck, and that'll lift it up a little bit, and he'll be able to get out of here. Except all the stuff slid against the back of the truck, and now the door won't open because all of the weight of the cargo is pushing against the door. So he can't go forward, he can't go backward, and we can't open the door and offload it. So somebody comes up with the idea, let's get a tow strap and use my big diesel truck and try to pull him, at least lurch him forward enough to get that ramp unstuck from the blacktop. Sorry, I got a call coming through. The listeners can't hear it, but you can. Anyway, so I got my truck, I put the tow strap on and gunned it. And the women are standing far enough away that if the tow strap snaps, like they're out of, no shrapnel is going to hit them. Mm-hmm. And Rick is standing far enough behind the whole thing, but Josh is kind of in the middle of it all. So I gun it and I pulled him out of the asphalt and about 20 feet up the driveway. What we had discussed with the driver, whose name was Kevin, and when I say bless his heart, I think you know what I'm saying, James.
Yes.
We said to him, when you get pulled out of this thing, hit the accelerator, and between the 2 trucks, they will, in tandem, pull all that weight up the hill. Because I'm pulling a 7.3 liter diesel. He's got his truck. We're going to get this thing up. Halfway up the driveway, I learned he never hit the accelerator. My truck's doing all the work to pull him up, and when the angle is sufficient, my truck can't pull him anymore, and the wheels start spinning. And then he starts drifting backwards because his foot's not on the brake either, and he's pulling me with him, and if he gets into the road, he's going to go right into the ditch on the other side, and both of us will probably die. That's how big the ditch is. And so Josh runs to his window and screams, "Gun it and go like hell!" And so finally he gunned it, and we got him up the hill. And Josh's wife said, I have never heard him with that level of urgency in his voice before. But everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong until we fixed it. And I thought, this can only happen on the ranch. This guy's never gotten stuck that way before. I've never had a driver so dumb that he doesn't understand. He needs to accelerate a little bit to help my truck. And finally we unloaded it. Kevin sat in the cab the whole time, and the rest of us unloaded 4,300 pounds worth of shingles. But that is my story this week. I know Josh is going to be watching this episode, hoping for the Kevin story, and I just hope I did it justice. But I will say, I was scared. Like, I screamed out the window, there was an F word in it, let me just say. But tell him to effing go, because I thought we were going to die. Like, if he would have kept his foot off the brake, we would have both gone across the road and down into that gully, and it would have taken a semi-wrecker to get us out of there.
So walk me through what your steps were going to be. Let's go back to the alternate universe and our multiverse situation here. So Kevin's not the brightest guy. So let's say his window's up, and when Josh runs up there and yells at him to gun it, he doesn't know what he's saying, and so he does not push the accelerator. You continue drifting back. What was your plan? Were you going to slam on your brakes?
I had the brakes locked up.
And you were still going backwards. So at what point would you have bailed from the truck, or were you going to ride it all the way across the road and into the ditch?
As I think this through in the aftermath, we couldn't have made it that far because he would have just javelined himself back into the asphalt. But at the time, I didn't realize that because I was disoriented, like getting pulled backwards. But I would have bailed. I think I told you a while ago when we had an ice storm, my neighbor up the road, he went off that gully, and he bailed like James Bond out of the car and did like a shoulder roll on the asphalt before his car went over the side, because you will die. You're not going to survive that if your car goes over with any amount of speed. It is deep, and there are trees at the bottom, and it'll be bad.
Man. Now, when you say javelined into the asphalt, did he damage the asphalt, or did he just stick to it like a sticky dart?
Yeah, no. It went full embedded. Well, he had 7, 8, 9. He had about 12 tons that stuck the metal corners into the ground, and the ground happened to be our driveway. So one of the plans, I had pickaxes down there. We were going to pickaxe everything out and try to get him to go forward if we needed to, but my truck was able to get him loose.
So you now have a massive groove all the way across your brand new asphalt driveway?
Well, it's not brand new, but yes.
I thought you had somebody go out there and lay it. I thought that was within the lifetime of this podcast.
We had a little bit of driveway laid toward the top so it would match the house, but we're not going to redo the asphalt is a disaster down there, but we're not going to redo it till we're done having trucks go up and down to carry building supplies. So that'll be one of the last things.
You say that like there's going to be an end point. Like someday you will be done adding on. I mean, now you're going and you're inviting random people from Twitter to show up at your house and supply you with manual labor. Like, what was in it for him? Why did this guy come here and do that?
He's a super fan. Are you kidding? Like, look at me, James. Come on. What more do you need to know?
I am confident that out of all the people I have following me on every platform, there are 0 people who would show up and give me free physical labor. I am positive of this.
No. You know you're lying.
No, you know how hard it is to get them to buy a book, like a $15 book. And that
yes,
at the current price of labor, like you can make $30 an hour at a Buffalo Wild Wings. Like that's half an hour of work to buy one book. If they won't, like 99.999% of these people will never ever buy a book, and they feel like they've done me a great favor by following me and reading my jokes for free. You think those people are going to drive to my house and work for free? Absolutely not.
I will bet you have, what we figured out, you had like 50 times more followers than me. There is a Josh in there, and probably, most likely, more than one.
I think, oh man, it's going to kill me to say this. I should not have started down this track, but I'm just going to finish it out. I think you're more likable than me in a way that relates, I got to qualify it. You're more likable to me in a way that appeals to like old people of a certain age. Like people.
Oh my God, that was so good for a minute.
I know.
Why didn't
I know. I should have just. I shouldn't even started the sentence. I had to even it out though. But I think there's a group of people out there who, their kids have moved out. All their famous rock stars are old and retired, and they think, what do I have left to live for? Why not throw out my back for Steve? But my followers still have hope. They have kids they're trying to raise and get out of the house, and they're not going to come here and do this. They barely have the energy to watch their own children. They're not going to come over here and help me do anything. And that's just how it is. So congrats to you for not murdering your free labor, but I don't know how you got away with that once, and it's never going to work a second time. Nobody else will ever come there to work for you for free.
I got a guy coming this weekend.
What? What did they?
Yeah.
What did he tell you? Describe to me the course of this conversation.
First of all, Josh is your age.
What?
I think he's a couple years older. His wife was born the same year you were, and they're roughly the same age. He's got kids that are in high school, and they came. He had his whole family for the week. And Rattlesnake Ranch is not a bad place to be. If you're a high school kid, we got four-wheelers, we got a razor, we got plenty of land. You can shoot guns and bows and arrows and drive around, and there's deers everywhere. Like, it's not a bad place to be. But did you want to comment before I answer your question?
No, you just threw out deers, and it was a flashback of bad times. Just keep going. Just finish it out.
The conversation has to do with deers, by the way.
Okay.
Because I always say I need to do this and that, and I don't know how to do this and that. And he wrote and said, I know how to do all this. I was raised on a farm in Illinois, and if you ever want help, let me know. And I'm like, well, we got to build a greenhouse. We got to build a chicken coop. We got to plant like stuff for the deers, and I don't know how to do any of it. And he's coming over this weekend, and we're going to talk about plans. He's going to, I think we're about to buy a real tractor because the BAM is no more, James.
How?
But he's going to go through some...
I gotta stop. I gotta stop stuttering and interrupting you because you just keep talking and things keep getting worse. So please, just finish it out.
That's how the conversation went. But yeah, the BAM is dead.
How did you kill it? What did you do?
It self-destructed. The curse got it. I didn't do anything. I wasn't using it for what it was built for necessarily, but that shouldn't matter.
Were you mowing in February?
It wasn't just the time of year. The cool weather, it was more what I was mowing than when I was mowing.
And what, pray tell, were you mowing?
Well, for most of what we had to do to reclaim the land, it was chest-high weeds and blackberries.
Okay.
Which, for as evil as they are, the blades go through it pretty easily. There's a part of the property near my deer stand that irritates me because it's overgrown, but the forest had started to retake it. So there's trees that are about the size of my thumb that are everywhere. And from what I understand now, a finish mower from golf courses is not meant to cut down thousands of thumb-sized trees. It can be bad for it. Just write that one down, FYI.
How much did you pay for this machine that you totally destroyed?
All in, including all the repairs we've done, it's probably got $9,000 into it, maybe 10.
Wow. I just listened to a great book called Sapiens, a great book of nihilism on the history of the human race. Nobody belongs anywhere, all that kind of stuff. But it talks about how our earliest ancestors figured out fire and cleared back the forest and conquered the earth, for better or for worse. Yeah. And here's you in 2023 with the most advanced technology imaginable. Like these early humans, they brought about the greatest cataclysm for all life just on their own with stone tools and fire. They figured it out. And here you are trying to conquer this small, tame section of land and just inflicting massive damage to yourself and your property. Well, nature remains unharmed. I've got to say, our caveman ancestors would be so disappointed in you.
Well, I'm creating cataclysm, but it's more on a personal level. So, yes, we need a tractor now. The reason I got the BAM was because tractors were not available back when we were moving and needed a tractor. This was the next best thing. And we had no idea it was going to end up. If I'd have been mowing a golf course, this thing might have lasted forever. But we've been using it to reclaim land. And anyway, we're about to go way into debt to get a tractor, and it's not going to be pleasant.
Well, the good news is you have an infinite supply of free labor from very misguided people. So worst comes to worst, give them all some scythes and send them out there to work the land, and you can keep your whole feudalism thing going.
Josh built a wall in the
Ooh.
small cabin for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Feudalism works. You heard it here first, people.
Well, you heard it here first, and that's all you're going to hear today. Subscribe to Breakwell's newsletter to see the story that he was itching to tell here on Wrong and Wronger. And for the low, low price of it's probably not worth it anyway, you can read all of Breakwell's thoughts. But until we meet again and discuss our personal thoughts, this is Steve Olivas, Dr. Steve for James, the begging Breakwell unicorn Breakwell, saying thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and remember, we don't make anything out of this, so you stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Two wrongs can't make a right.